Hybrid solar home systems. In this session, we're going to be talk about what do you mean by the hybrid kind of the solar home systems. In the earlier session, we have talked about the stand-alone solar system or the off-grid kind of the home systems over here actually. So whenever any kind of the grid parameter is comes into the mind or the particular solar system, it is comes in the hybrid kind of a solar system. So basically there are mainly three kinds of the solar systems are there. One is called as the on-grid type of a solar system, other is the off-grid kind of a solar system, and last is the hybrid kind of a solar system. So basically whenever we are already having the grid supply at our home and we are designing the solar home system only for a reduction of the electricity bill, so in that cases also we can just go for the hybrid kind of a solar system. So in these cases we just use the battery backup system also, because in the daytime or in the night time also we can just use the battery backup system. So we try to avoid the electricity power from the grid supply over here actually. So we've tried to reduce the electricity bills in terms of the hybrid kind of a solar systems. So basically solar home systems, most of the people are just going for the hybrid kind of a solar system also. So basically as per in the diagram it has been shown over here, the grid supply is coming from the utility supplier into the LT panel of the consumer over here actually. So basically, in earlier cases, before installing this solar rooftop solar system, the consumer is already having the supply of the grid over here actually. So basically, once if I want to reduce the electricity supply, so basically we can just go for the solar panels installation over here. So in these cases, if our requirement is of the powering the instrument at is from the DC to AC conversion or AC instruments we are using inside the solar home systems, so that time such kind of a systems are more preferable to design in the case study over here actually. So in this cases, the power from the sun's radiation, it has been absorbed by the solar panels, and the DC form of the electricity, it has been given to the hybrid kind of the inverter. So one point we have to be make sure that which inverter we are using, it should be compatible with the grid supply also, and it should be compatible with the battery supply also. So that is such kind of inverters are called as the hybrid kind of the solar systems over here. So basically in the hybrid kind of a solar system, it has been already fitted with the charge controller over here actually, and that to be the NPPT charge controller or the PWM based technology also we can just go for it for more cost reduction in the systems. So basically the DC power from the solar panels, it has been given to the hybrid kind of a solar inverter. Whatever the grid power we are giving, that also we are giving supply to the hybrid kind of the solar inverter in the solar home systems over here. So basically the two kinds of the power has been coming to the hybrid kind of the solar inverter. One is the DC power from the solar system, another is the AC power from the grid supply over here. So basically the hybrid kind of a solar system synchronizes with the grid actually. It is just knows how much amount of the or which phase the current supply has been coming, what amount of the voltage the supply has been fed to the feeder panel over here, and what is the frequency of the supply it is coming from the utility supplier over here actually. Once it has been synchronized with the AI or the intelligence systems of the hybrid inverter, it will try to invert the waveform of the DC supply into the AC supply over here actually. And this power, the one connection has been given to the battery system and other connections has been given to the corresponding home appliances over here through the corresponding switchboards over here actually. It means what? Whatever amount of the DC power has been generated, the first preference has been given to the battery charging system over here. Till that, the grid will going to supply the electricity power for the home for the powering its instruments over here actually. In the daytime, whenever there is a larger amount of the electricity has been generated by the solar panel, the inverter will charge the battery also, and inverter will supply the power to the home appliances also. So that time the grid, whatever the connections it is coming actually, it is only been utilized for the synchronization purpose only. But in the evening time, whenever the sun power has been reduced, so that time the power from the battery has been utilized for powering the home appliances. And once the battery has been reached up to the 50% of the depth of discharge, or 90% of the desktop discharge as per the selections of the battery, then the grid will going to power or grid will going to charge the battery also, and it will give the power or supply to the home appliances also. So basically in the hybrid kind of a solar system, we are having the two battery backups over here. That is the one power we are getting from the battery, another is getting from the grid supply over here. But the solar power first preference is given to the battery, and then it has been given to the home appliances. But whenever the sun power is lagging in the corresponding late morning or the late evening situation, so that time period actually the grid will going to fulfill the needs of the consumer. So in this case, the purpose of the utilization of a battery is what? The lesser to lesser amount of the unit should be imported from the grid supply over here actually, so that our monthly electricity bill will going to get reduced over here actually. So that is the main purpose of these hybrid kind of the solar home systems over here actually. In this diagram, whenever we look at this corresponding diagram actually, it is the line view has been given. The power from the solar panel we give to the hybrid inverter. One power supply we are just giving to the battery also for charging purpose. Other supply we are just synchronizing with the grid, and later also we can just give to the circuit breaker through the home appliances over here actually. So like that we have just going to be talking about the hybrid kind of the solar home systems over here. In most of the city cases, in most of the countries over here actually, the people are going for the hybrid kind of the solar system. But in the remote area, wherever the grid is not been reachable, so that time we can go for the standalone kind of the solar systems. Whenever we talk regarding what do you mean by the hybrid system, it is a modern hybrid system combines the solar power, battery storage in one, and are now available in the many different forms and the configurations over here. Due to the decreasing cost of the battery storage, systems that are already connected to the electricity grid can start taking the advantages of the battery storage as well. It means what? We keep a power from the grid also, but we can introduce the battery backup system through the solar system, and we try to reduce the redundancy or dependency on the utility supplier who is supplying the electricity. Generally, the cost of the electricity supplied by the utility supplier will be higher than what we are generating from the solar system. So that is why it will be more advantageous for the consumer to go for the hybrid systems over here. Whenever we talk regarding the daytime, so this means being able to the store solar energy that is generated during the daytime and use in the night time also. So when we store the energy, it depleted and the grid is there as a backup over here. So once our battery backup has been finished, so that time we can just take a power from the grid also. So our continuous supply has been given to the corresponding home actually. So that is why it is very important to know about the hybrid kind of a solar system, what it exactly means in the solar home systems actually. Whenever we talk about the component that has been utilized in the hybrid systems are the solar modules we required, hybrid kind of a solar inverter we require the mounting structures to hold the solar panel, we require the battery bank to store the power, we require the balance of the system consisting of the cables, controllers, switchboards, junction boxes, net meter, solar generation meter. If we are just connecting for the utility supplier, then the net metering system is also been required over here actually. That is been added in the hybrid kind of the solar system. Some of the earthing system and the breakers and the fuses we required whenever we do the connections into the LT panel or the switchboard of the solar home systems over here.